What's going on, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing well. So, kind of weird this morning. Some of you guys might have noticed it was kind of late before my video went live. I'm usually pretty early Mondays and Wednesdays, and now I'm starting to add. Hopefully, I can do every day or every week add a Friday video. I can't commit to that, but I'm definitely this week going to throw up a Friday video. Last week I did, and so I'm going to try to more often than not try to add a third video to my weekly content here on YouTube. But there was a huge glitch going on, like site-wide on YouTube this morning. I noticed a lot of my favorite subscriptions, people who make content, their videos weren't popping up. They usually pop up stuff every day. And I was just constantly trying to upload this video and publish it, and it just would not show up. No views, nothing was happening. So the whole system was like broken this morning in terms of me being able to communicate with you guys and put out a video. And so once again, I made a video about this a couple months ago where I said, hey, get on my email list. And if you're not on my email list and you're watching this video now, there's a link in the description box. Click on it or just go to my website, syncmymusic.com. Get on my mailing list, right? If the only way that you're getting in touch with me or seeing these videos or even knowing about what's going on here is through YouTube, we're at a massive disadvantage because this morning YouTube had a huge glitch issue and I could not get a video out to you guys. Sure, it only lasted a couple of hours. But again, we don't just assume that that'll never happen again and it'll always sort itself out. I've had issues with YouTube. YouTube's been down before all across the planet. So I don't ever just rely on YouTube to communicate with you guys. And if you're just relying on YouTube to get a hold of me or to see what's going on or to catch my videos, you're completely at a disadvantage. So right on, DJ B Biddy, however you say your name. I'm glad you're on the email list. So follow DJ BDDY and get on the email list, because if this ever happens again, or if it's a longer blackout, or if I can't upload a video, I need to be able to reach out to you guys. I'd like you to be able to reach out to me, and so we can communicate. I am not married to YouTube. Okay, I like YouTube. I love putting up videos here, and I'm going to continuously do that for now. But I'm not religiously devoted to YouTube, and I have my eyes on other platforms that I could possibly move my content over to start hosting it over there. I might do it simultaneously as well. But YouTube is having a lot of issues right now. They're starting to punish independent content creators. They're taking people's ad revenue away. I don't monetize my channel, but for other people who do, I know that they're hurting right now, and more sort of mainstream corporate content creators and advertisers are being preferred right now on the platform. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see what's going to happen there. All the fun, interesting, cool content will start to kind of go away. And the stuff that you already see on TV is going to start taking over YouTube. And that's not what YouTube originally was started for. YouTube was originally started for, you know, just a guy with his webcam basically giving you his thoughts on some subject or something like that. That's what makes YouTube so awesome. It's in the name, YouTube, right? It's for independent people, not, you know, multi-million-dollar content creators. We can get that on TV already. That's where you go for that kind of content. But if you want something more independent and small, kind of DIY, that's what's fun about YouTube. And right now, the management of YouTube has forgotten that, or they're basically trying to chase the sort of corporate money. All right. So for whatever reason they're doing, to me, it feels like they're sort of making some wrong moves right now. And so I feel like the best days of YouTube are behind us. Sad to say. I have been a part of YouTube since 2006 or maybe 2008. And I just remember a completely different platform back then. And recently, I know it's growing. I mean, I know there's more and more people jumping on board and being a part of YouTube, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing management, the organization of YouTube, obviously owned by Google now, making really smart moves. I think they're looking for short-term gains and sacrificing long-term viability. So we'll see. I think there's other platforms right now that are coming up, creeping up, and they're going to start to, you know, you're going to see a major, probably this year or maybe next year. I think my prediction would be is you're going to see some major YouTube content creators leave the platform and go to an alternative platform, and their followers will follow them. Like that's, I mean, I'm not here for YouTube. I'm here for the content creators, right? They're the ones that brought me in originally. They're the ones that I search for. And so if we go to other platforms that, you know, are better for us, our viewers and followers and subscribers will follow us as well. So, you know, I don't know. Not that YouTube would ever watch this video or even care about my opinion or advice, but they are certainly making a lot of bad moves right now. And they're showing their creator and their content creators that they're not the priority right now. The priority is corporate income. That's where they're going for. So sad to see, but you know, all good parties have to come to an end, right? We've all been to a great party. Does that party last the rest of your life? No, it lasts for the night, and then you move on, and there's other good parties you try to go find. So the party here at YouTube has been great. It's been fun for many years. It's not going to last forever. We all know that. If you were a part of MySpace, you saw how fun that party was. That party came crashing down real quick, right? And it will happen fairly quickly when it does happen. But the point of all that is that if I do, when I do, I wouldn't even say when I do decide to make that move with this channel, if you're not on the mailing list, you don't know where I am, right? You might just one day not see me putting up any videos and go, well, what happened to Jesse? What happened to all this stuff? I don't want you to be left in the dark. I want you to be able to find me, find the content, find what we're doing. So definitely get on that mailing list. Let's see. We got some people in here now. Digital Drew, what's up, man? Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't do a lot of intros and that kind of stuff. I follow a lot of people on YouTube that do a lot of those, like, 30-second, even if it's 30 seconds or even 5 seconds of this like intro, the same thing you say at the beginning of every video. I just get so sick of it. So I made a conscious effort to just jump into the point of whatever I wanted to say. So I appreciate that. You noticed that, man. That's cool. Just Smoke, glad that you dig it, man. Cool, man. All right. Amaranthine sound design. Glad you're here too. So the point, higher self. What's up, buddy? Right on. You're working on an album right now. Cool. You're taking a break. The point of this video, though, aside from the mailing list issue on YouTube, is this concept that I get fairly often from a lot of people in my email inbox, which is, Jesse, how do you know when you're ready to start submitting? Slasmod, you're not seeing the email link list. If you go into the description box of this video, you should see that. Or just go to syncmymusic.com, SYNC mymusic.com, and right away you'll see this thing that just jump on for the free course. That gets you on my email list, okay? Tom, Sync Academy is a game changer. Right on, man. Thank you. I'm glad you feel that way. That's how I wanted it to be designed, and I'm glad that you're seeing that. But this concept and this fear, this worry that maybe some of you guys have, that you're not ready to do music licensing full-time. I get this quite a bit, actually, when people either go through my free course or just find a YouTube video and they say, I'm really excited about it. I obviously see the upside of sync licensing. I think it's like a no-brainer. Like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that part out. But the confidence, they don't feel like it's there. They're like, well, I don't feel like I'm a professional producer. I don't feel like I'm really ready for this industry, right? So that's just a personal fear that maybe a lot of you guys feel, or maybe you have felt, and you're kind of working through that right now. And it makes me always reflect on when I first got started into this industry. I mean, do you guys think that when I decided to get started and commit, a big chunk of my life to licensing, that I felt ready to do it? That I felt like, oh, I have all the skills, I have all the knowledge, I have all the sounds that I'll ever need, I have every piece of equipment that I'll ever need, I have all the relationships in place, and I've got the education, so I'm ready to go. And of course not. You guys know that I didn't feel that way. I had a belief in myself. I had a really deep core belief in myself that frankly was fueled by anger and hatred for my previous employers. If you guys saw my sort of journey into the music licensing video, I talked about that fuel that really, it just pissed me off, being told by a previous boss that I had no future, like my career was shot. That basically, because I screwed up with his company, I had no chance of making it as a professional musician or just a professional anything. That really got under my skin. It really pissed me off. And so I used that fuel, that anger, that hatred, and spite to prove him wrong. That's honestly what got me going the first couple of years in this industry. It was just that it bothered me that much. It really got under my skin. But I wasn't ready. No way I was ever ready to do this. I had really crappy music. I was making barely, not even quite licensable music. I mean, some of it was okay. The ideas, I would say, were really strong back then. And I've always kind of had a really strong sense of riffs. I was doing much more like just rock with maybe hip hop and stuff on top of it, but mostly, riff-based music with my guitar. I always had a really strong sense for really cool, interesting, catchy, powerful riffs. So I had that, but the recording technique was not there. The sounds were not there. The mixing skills were not there. The mastering skills were not there. I didn't have any decent equipment to work with. I didn't have a lot of great relationships. I had no education, right? All of those things were out of my purview. I had just literally the MacBook, 13-inch, tiny little thing, and headphones and a couple of plugins. And that was pretty much it. And I had one library that I was submitting music to. And thankfully, this library gave me a shot, put me on their catalog, and kind of showed me some of the ropes as I, basically worked with me through my sucking phase. I just really sucked back then. And so they were kind of bringing me along, right, and giving me some feedback and trying to help me a little bit. So that was really cool. But I was not at all ready for it. And so I wanted to share that with you guys today, because if you're feeling that way, that you kind of feel like a fraud or an imposter or something like that, like you're trying to pretend like you're a music sync licensing producer, but you're not really doing it professionally yet, so you're not really ready. You will never feel that way in the beginning. I'm just telling you that and there was no sort of like phase of me going from not ready to, oh, okay, now I'm completely ready, completely understand everything. I'm still in this process this far into the game, learning all the time and discovering, oh, I had that wrong. I got to maybe update my thinking about this, or maybe this is a new way to start producing music. So you never fully feel like you've mastered anything in this industry. But competency, I think that's what most of you guys are going for. You want to be competent at it so that you have enough of the fundamentals down, enough of those great relationships. You're making licensable tracks. You know what to look out for in licensing contracts, all that good stuff, so that you're competently building a sustainable career. I know that's the point where you want to get to. But you will never, probably in that process of doing that, really feel completely ready. There's just always going to be that doubt. There's always going to be that, I don't know, maybe this, maybe that. And it's okay to just embrace that and understand that that's how everybody feels when they're getting started in this industry. And I'm no exception to that rule. It's exactly how I felt when I first got into it. So I wanted to encourage you guys today, maybe give you a little bit of motivation to not let that be something that holds you back, to feel you have to have all the answers. You have to understand every single nook and cranny of how this industry works, or even like have to have those relationships built right now. I didn't have tons and tons of relationships built in the beginning of my career. I just had one avenue, one lane, one place to go with my music and to get it distributed. So I tried to milk that as much as I possibly can, right? As the months and then years went on, I started to open myself up to, maybe I can work with other companies and I can kind of get some music into other platforms, and I can start to maybe expand a little bit the kind of music that I make, or try to get into hybrid stuff, right? And so you start to expand as time goes on, but just always remain that student, right? Always remain in learning mode, and not pretending like you have to be some guru that understands everything at all times, because you'll never get to that place. You're just going to set yourself up for failure. So it's okay to not know everything, to not have all your answers or your questions answered, to not have every sort of nook and cranny figured out. Most people don't even get started because they mistakenly think that all those little unanswered questions or variables need to be addressed first before they take that risk, before they jump into something. It's totally the opposite, okay? Those people that are too afraid to get involved because they haven't answered those questions, or they don't think like, well, I don't have all the best sounds to work with yet, or I don't have all the greatest relationships already set up. They're the ones that'll never get started, right? Because they're always procrastinating. And sadly, they're the ones that will go, well, I have to go read this another book, right, to learn how to do it. Or I have to go take this other course to learn how to do it. Or there's always this like, well, I just don't have all the answers, so I have to go do more things before I jump in and start doing this for real. That's procrastination. That's all that is. What you got to do is just start doing it, right? Get into your studio, start making music. That's it. That's the big secret to success in the licensing business. Open up your DAW today, okay? Don't put it off. Don't watch another video. Don't like, okay, well, I got to learn. No, stop all that. If you need to learn something, go learn it. I'm not saying don't do that, but you should be spending a majority of your time throughout your day working, just getting into your studio, just pulling up your DAW, experimenting with stuff. And also, if you start a track, finish a track, right? Not just dabbling with a sound here and there. Okay, cool. Let me just dabble with this. Let me dabble with that. But force yourself to get into the creative process all the way through. Start with the idea, get a reference track, right? I'm a huge fan and almost mandatorily will tell you guys, use reference tracks. Try to follow in the spirit of that reference track all the way through to the end so you can click bounce, right? Go to that magical place, file, bounce. Bounce your track down, get it into an MP3 format, a WAV format, whatever you want to do it. But at least put in a the end, right? We're not writers, so we don't get to put a the end, but that's our the end. We get to click bounce. Then you get that sense of accomplishment. You did it. You had some writer's block. You didn't have all the answers. You didn't know exactly how it was all going to work out. but you pushed yourself to start to make those creative decisions faster and force yourself to make those decisions, not let yourself off the hook, right? You get to that course. How does this course going to go? The first idea you do doesn't really work. This doesn't work. You try a couple things and then you just walk away. You close your laptop, you close your studio down and you go do something else. Don't give yourself that out. If you need to take a break, take a break. Go get yourself a cup of coffee, go take a walk, go get some fresh air, go to the gym, do something physical, get your mind off of it, and then commit to coming back and finish what you started. That's how you're going to get quote unquote ready for this industry, is you have to build those skill sets and that muscle memory and that ability. It's really more mental than it is anything else. This is not a very physically tasking job that we have, but mentally, it's all mental energy. So if you've given yourself all these outs, well, I'm not really feeling like it today, closing it, I'm going to do something else. I didn't really finish that track. You know, I don't even like that sound anymore. Let me try a completely new thing. You're giving yourself all these really bad habits and allowing yourself to have these bad habits ingrained into your day-to-day workflow, which will not help you. So start to become your own boot camp instructor. Discipline. Put yourself in a regiment. Discipline yourself to just finishing the ideas that you start. That's the only way to get into it, guys. So anyways, rant over. Let me go check out some of your guys' chats, see what you guys going on here in the chat box here. Do I have classes? No, I don't really do anything in real life. Everything that I'm doing right now is online, mostly because it's just a lot easier for me because I still have my own licensing obligations. I still create music for my partners, and I still obviously keep that side of my career going very strongly. And so right now, I don't feel like I have that ability to be, you know, going out and creating, you know, seminars or live workshops, that kind of thing. I'm not saying I'll never do it. You never know what the future will bring. But for right now, the online stuff, I just love it because I can reach more people. First of all, I can put up this video. I can open this webcam on my couch here and, you know, 44 of you guys are watching, and there's going to be hundreds more that watch after that. Took no effort, barely any effort to get together a live, you know, everybody has to fly in and drive in, and we got to rent the place. It's just a lot more work. So for me, online stuff just makes more sense. Higher self. You definitely need self-confidence because you're on your own so much. You need to trust yourself. Absolutely. Slazmoj. I don't think I'm quick enough at churning out tunes yet. Is our minimum frequency of producing songs we should shoot for? Yes. I'd say 2 to 3 a week. If you can do more than that, you're on a much better path. But minimum, you should be going for 2 to 3 completed songs, produced, mixed, and mastered per week. Digital Drew, just when you think you've learned everything, people come in and change the game and you're learning again. Absolutely. I'm going back to school every day in this industry. Wow, a different room. Yes, I don't just live in my one studio room. I do have other parts of the house where I live. How many tracks a month should I be submitting? Well, when we've talked about 2 to 3 a week, so that's 8 to 10 a month. So 8, 2, 4, 6, 8 to 3, 6, 9, 12, 8 to 12, sorry. 8 to 12 a month. Minimum. I would say that's on the minimum. You can obviously do a lot more than that. But if you're averaging about 1 album a month, you're doing really, really good. You're welcome, Alpha. Glad you enjoy the videos. Okay. Good question here from DJ BDDY. My biggest concern is that the majority of my music is sample based. I don't want to ruin my career before it starts by submitting tracks with uncleared samples. First of all, very wise that you're even aware of that. Most producers are not even thinking about that. So you're in a really good place that you're just even being conscious of what you're using in your music. This is why, I put 2 videos out in the last couple of weeks about being very careful about where you get these samples. Read the end user license agreement and use companies that have large reputations. They've been around for a long time, not some blog website like that one that I showed, I think it was just last week. Very sketchy, right? No terms of use, no end user license agreement, no privacy policy. It's just like a Squarespace, platform that somebody just put up. Who knows where those samples come from, right? I have no idea. You don't really know. And it's not a legitimate, long-term, reputable source. So depending on where you're getting your samples, Kevin, just be really careful about that. Oh, and not Kevin. That was the other one. Sorry. just be careful. And if you need to go create new music with new samples, you got to go do that, right? It's worth it because this is a long-term play. You're not trying to get that short-term quick buck. Go make sure you're using cleared samples. Let's see. Nicholas, what's up? Super duper. Glad you're encouraged, man. Tom, what's up, man? Hobo Blues Clown. Love the name. Do you only do syncing or do you produce your own music as well? Yeah, 99% of what I do is sync. I do once in a while create my own original music, but it's mostly just for myself. I haven't really released a lot of it publicly. I've done some cover stuff. I've worked with some artists here and there, but now it's been many years since I've done that kind of a thing. I've also done some synth programming for other artists. If some of you guys know the band I Prevail, it's kind of a newer modern rock band. They got really huge because they did a cover of a Taylor Swift song. What was that song? Like a huge song from a couple years ago. I can't remember what it's called. Anyways, they blew up from doing this really cool rock cover of it. And the producer of their newest album, the one that came out actually last year, hit me up, and I did some synth programming on their album. So I do some of that here and there, but not a lot. I honestly, syncing is what I stick with just because it's the path of least resistance for me. It's where I get most of my contracts, most of my checks. And now I have enough licensing relationships that people depend on me. Like I'm part of a few different teams, and I can't really afford to be like, all right, guys, sorry, I can't give you music this month. I got to go work with this artist and this band. I got to go, you know, I could make that choice. I decide not to because I like the work that I do. I like to be able to work from my home studio. Sometimes I collaborate very well, but I'm not a huge fan of collaborating all the time. A majority of my music, I just like to produce myself because, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm kind of a control freak. I like producing my own music. When I was in college, I was studying recording arts, actually. And all of our classes were based on how do you set up a session for an artist and how do you record an artist and, you know, set up a microphone and mix and all that kind of stuff for other people recording their music. And of course, we had a couple of homework assignments or projects where we'd have to go find a local band, bring them into the studio in the school, record, demo, you know, do everything basically. And part of it was enjoyable, you know, fun, you know, getting the band in there, recording, all that kind of stuff. But honestly, because it wasn't my music and because I wasn't producing it and I had no creative input into it, I was just the engineer, I lost interest in the whole project. I was just being honest with myself. My gut was telling me, you need to songwrite. Like you need to be involved in the creative process for you to get excited about this. That's just how I felt. So I knew that the engineering process or just kind of always jumping on somebody else's project wasn't for me. I just had that selfish need of like, I have creative ideas. I have an input that I want to have and the only way that I'm going to be excited from beginning to mixing and mastering is if I'm producing it. So that's why I didn't really go that path. I've just been staying more in this side of things. Talkertivity. Is it okay to still upload my licensed track to stores for streaming and downloading? If it's non-exclusive and you have explicit permission, then yes. But if you've signed an exclusive contract with a library, no. Like that means that they are exclusively distributing your track. So you can always ask them and talk to them about what your plans are, but don't just do things and assume it'll all be all right. No big deal. They'll never find out about it. Yes, they will. And yes, you're going to pay a consequence for that. So don't try to be sneaky. Talk to people, right? You never know. I mean, even if you sign an exclusive agreement and you say, hey guys, you know, I know I gave you this music, but I also want to start to publish it in this manner. What can I do? Are you comfortable with that? I know that, you know, our contract might say that that's not like something I can't do. You never know, right? But always talk to your licensing partners first and let them have first. They can decide whether or not they want to allow you to do that. If they do, they'll probably put you under a new contract. They'll amend the contract, put a schedule on there, something like that, and they'll make you sign something so you guys understand what the agreement is. But don't just try to get away with something. You're just going to screw your whole career up if you do that. Brother is somewhere sitting in the waiting room while my brother gets an MRI. Well, I hope he's all right, man. Good morning to you. Nicholas, I don't buy samples. I make my own recording music. Is this acceptable? Absolutely, man. If you're making all 100% your own music, you're never going to have to worry about, I mean, yes, you don't want to be ripping off somebody's melodies and that kind of thing. But yeah, if you're not using samples or loops and you're making 100% your own, you're going to stay out of a lot of trouble. So it's a lot harder and it takes a lot more work, but you also your quality of music will stand out apart from the crowd just because you are creating all original. Just Smoke, while I do a live video creating a track, I feel you want to submit. Just want to get a better idea how to go from start to finish roughly. I have some videos here on my channel. Sorry, the chat's kind of going a little quicker now. I have some videos on my channel where I show you guys my creative process. I don't think I've ever done a sort of complete start to finish here on the channel, but I do have that in Sync Academy. I have my producing, mixing, and mastering course, which basically walks you through how I have a blank Logic session and I verbally talk to you guys as I'm creating my first piano melody and selecting my drums and putting the track together and crafting the transitions. It's a really, really in-depth, that course alone is almost 20 hours long. Can't do that here on YouTube, okay? And to talk to you guys through the whole process and do that kind of thing, each individual part of my creative process deserves to be sort of explained to you. So that's not something that I plan on doing here on the channel. It's just something that I just don't think I could do in a cohesive way and stay. And I'm obviously not going to be staying up for 20 hours to do all that kind of stuff for you guys. But that's where I have that kind of content if you're interested in that kind of a thing. But I do have plenty of tutorials here on YouTube where you can watch. You can, and I show you guys and talk to you guys why I created what I created and walk you through an entire track. Devin, if you have a few songs in a library, is it okay to ask the owner if your tracks are being looked at? Of course, you can ask him anything you want. Higher Self, good question. Do you think it's better to focus on TV shows, films, or commercials when you're making your music? Honestly, for me, TV is number one. Commercials would be number two. I've only gotten one major film placement. I've gotten some small indie film placements, but the only major film placement, a movie placement that I got was Let's Be Cops. I won't say anything about that movie, but it's not a movie that say that I would probably purchase. But I did get a placement on that movie a few years ago. It's done really well for me actually because it's actually aired all throughout the U.S. and now it's airing in other countries, and I get checks every quarter from that movie, which is really cool. But obviously, what has the most amount of music getting placed? TV shows, commercials, or film? Well, there's way more TV shows, right, than there are commercials, and there's way more commercials than there are films and movies, right? So yeah, I just go with quantity. There's just a lot more opportunities for TV. And honestly, background instrumental. That's where 80% of your royalty checks are going to come from. So just being frank with you guys, I know a lot of us like, I want that theme song. I want that jingle. Go for it. Have fun. I hope you guys get them. Your 80% of your checks are going to say BG, background, background, background. Once in a while, you'll get a feature, you'll get something like that. But for the most part, that's what you're going to see in this industry because that's where most of the need is in the licensing business. So don't think that you're a failure because you're just getting background. Oh, I didn't get a feature. You're still getting paid. You're still getting a placement, right? That's where you need to be focusing. Luigi, once you release an album, it's done. Do you ever feel paranoid that clients will hear your older work that may not be as good and not want to hire you for your newer work that you've gotten better? I don't know if I've ever had that situation happen because, yeah, my first music that I released when I first got started is terrible. It's not great. Stuff that I do now is 1,000 times better. I don't know, though. I mean, I can't really think that way because the stuff that I'm doing now is going to be terrible compared to stuff that I'm doing 10 years from now. So does that mean I just don't release it? I don't like that mentality because it always sets you up to not, it's fear. That's a fear-based thing, right? Like, well, I'll be better in a couple of years, so maybe I shouldn't. I should wait until I'm, again, there you go, ready to submit. I eliminate that. Do the best you can do, be who you are right now, and be proud of it, and put your best effort. Don't shortcut yourself. Don't try to, oh, I'll just now, I won't even double check this. Obviously, double, triple check everything. Make sure you're doing the best that you can with your skills and knowledge that you have right now. And you're going to get better as time goes on. But I would not have that mentality worrying about, well, what do they think about my stuff that I did 10 years ago? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's going to do anything productive for your career. Oh, arithmidine. Arinthan. I know I've pronounced your name once correctly before, but I will not be doing it today. How do you keep from getting distracted in your tracks? Reference tracks. Talked so many times about that. You guys should know that. Reference tracks. Keeps you on track every time. Nicholas, I make music alone and I'm a drummer of a band. You know how I can licensing our music. Also put out one song in a popular game, like GTA or other. It doesn't matter if you're a band or if you're an individual producer. I recommend the same approach, either one. Get relationships with music libraries. All right. So as a band, maybe you guys need to create separate music specifically crafted for the licensing business and then submit it to a library and get accepted. So it's the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're an individual producer or you're a band. The only difference, obviously, if you're a band, you guys are splitting those writer shares because probably you guys are all equally collaborating and contributing, right? Adam, what are the most popular genres of music? Basically everything that you hear that's charting on the radio, whatever the radio is, Billboard, rock, pop, EDM, hip hop, trap. Some country, not country is probably one of the lesser ones. I don't see a lot of placements for that. But something also that's unique in production music is orchestral. You're not going to hear that on charting Billboard stuff. Minimal tension music. So there's some others that don't quite fit into the mainstream. But basically, whatever the hot sound is of the time, that's what the licensing business is chasing and wants to have included in their libraries. Alpha, when I say create 3 tracks a week, does that mean fully written, produced, mastered? Yeah, that means literally, no, I mean fully mixed and mastered, complete songs that have been bounced and are in an MP3 or WAV format on your hard drive. Done, ready to be licensed. Okay, not, oh, here's my demo. I won't finish it until you guys accept it. No, I mean like this is done, mixed, mastered, ready to go. It might sound impossible to some of you guys, 2 to 3 a week. I'm barely doing 1 a month or whatever right now. I've been there. I know what that feels like. And I empathize with that sort of, oh my gosh, it seems like a mountain in front of you. How do you get to that point? Well, that's why I created the tutorials that I did. That's why I'm trying to, speed you guys up with what I've learned in this process. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It doesn't require 1,000% extra effort. It's literally just about creating more smart ways to produce music and to create shortcuts for yourself so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time that you open up a session. It's absolutely possible. Just reading your guys' comments here, making sure they just keep moving. Okay, so the question now is, if you had a track that's already out there on a streaming platform or iTunes, could you send that to a library? Absolutely. You got to let them know that, though. Got to let them know this is not something that's just been sitting on your hard drive. This has been out to the public. It's out for consumption. It can be a great asset if that's a very popular track or you have a little bit of a buzz kind of with your band or your artist or your producer name, whatever, because then that library can turn around to their clients and say, hey, look who we just signed. We got this hot new up and coming artist, right? So it can be an asset for you, but if you don't have a lot of sales and you don't have a big buzz, you just need to let them know, hey guys, it's on iTunes, it's out there. Is this going to be a problem? What do you guys feel about this? Non-exclusive libraries are 100% usually going to be okay with that because it's non-exclusive. They don't care what you do with it. You could put your music out there for free and you can just blare it out of a speaker horn out of your car. They don't care what you do with it. But exclusive libraries are certainly going to want to know where else your music is placed. Because remember, the value that they bring to their clients who make TV shows, movies, and commercials is quality music that they can only get with that library, right? So if you send them music that can also be gotten in other platforms and other places, that music's not necessarily as valuable, right? So that's why you have to always think about what's in it for the library. Why do they want that exclusivity? How many hours do I work a day? I usually, because I wake up, I mean, even today I woke up extra early because I went to bed a little earlier. So today I woke up at 4:30 a.m. I felt like crap. And then 5 minutes later, I felt great. It's kind of how it is most mornings. I just feel terrible getting out of bed. I don't want to do it. And a couple of minutes later, maybe not even 5, like 2 minutes later, after I'm just walking a little bit, I feel great. And I usually, how many hours? I don't know, man. It's a long day. It's long days, but I don't feel like if I get to that feeling where I'm like kind of burned out, I do just take a break or I try to take a little 1-day vacation or I try to get away, get out of town for a night or do something like that. But I kind of trust my gut on that. Like sometimes I'm just go, 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 go. November to December was crazy overtime for me just because I was building Sync Academy and working with other producers to bring all the tutorials onto the content and build that new platform and all that, just all that behind the scenes work, which is boring and I wouldn't tell you guys about it. But I had fun with it because to me, it's like putting together a puzzle, right? And it's really exciting to see, like, can I put this piece with this piece? Oh, that doesn't quite work. Maybe I could put it, oh, these two pieces really work or whatever, right? To me, it's really fun. It's a joy to build something that I'm passionate about. So it is not really work. I mean, it is work because it takes energy and mental, all that kind of stuff, and a lot of money and a lot of time to put this stuff together. But it's fun. I mean, there's still this sort of like chase. I get a thrill out of the chase, right? Of like, can I build something really cool and really functional for producers that's unlike anything else that's on planet Earth? And I think I've done that. And I think some of the testimonials I've gotten from the students speak to that. And I want to make it even better and just continuously to improve upon that. So I'm in love with the chase of it. I love the process of building things. It's the same thing with creating music, right? There was nothing there in your DAW. And then when you're done with a song, you hit print and bounce and boom, you got this beautiful piece of music that didn't exist, 24 hours ago or however long it was. And that's just such a cool feeling to build something out of nothing. Luigi, do I run into CPU or RAM issues with my EQs? No, I have, do I have 32 gigs? Either have 16 or 32 gigs with my iMac. I actually can't remember. So I have a lot of RAM. I invested in a lot of RAM because I knew I use a lot of plugins. My whole studio is basically just plugins and Contact 5 basically, libraries and all that kind of stuff. So I threw in a ton of money on the, I don't think actually it was that. It was probably a couple of $100. But I definitely knew that RAM was a really strong investment. So I've actually never, I know some of you guys still get that like error, right? Audio processing errors. I don't get that anymore. I really just don't, just because I invested so much in that RAM. All right, guys, I think I'm going to pop off here and get going. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, get on my mailing list. Below this video, there's a link. And if you don't see it, just go to syncmymusic.com, get on the mailing list. If I ever have any more future issues with YouTube and I don't get my video out and you're like, what happened to Jesse? Well, you're going to regret that day that you didn't get on the mailing list because you won't know what's happening. Luckily, we dodged the bullet today and they resolved it fairly quickly. But again, professionals don't just wait for bad things to happen and then make the decision, oh, what do I do now? Crap's going to happen no matter what, right? In our lives and in our careers and in your licensing career. So when that bad thing happens, you don't just sit there and like, oh, well, that sucks. Now what do I do? I don't know. And you just kind of sit on your thumbs. You should have that plan ready to go. So this is my plan ready to go for if, whenever something happens with this YouTube channel or with YouTube in general, just as time goes on, YouTube continuously makes the mistakes that it's making and the platform starts to suffer and people start going away. I am not married to YouTube. I am committed to giving you guys content, right? YouTube is just the platform I'm doing it on. That's it. When YouTube is not useful or relevant anymore, we will move to another place so that I can continuously give you guys that cool content. So that's what my commitment is. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a great day.